ever live show I've done for Fuse Logic. This is going to be fun. This is AutoMojo with Dave Foley on Fuse Logic TV. I've been a car guy all my life. I've been around cars, had other jobs, but I always seem to come back to getting into cars, getting interested in the car business. So the opportunity to put together a show with some of the things that I think are interesting and cool, it came up and I had to jump at it. So I'm looking forward to this. I think it's going to be exciting. We want to have fun. If you're looking for sort of a PBS dry-ish kind of analysis, this may not be the show for you, but you know what? I'm determined we're going to have fun one way or another. So let's get this started off. Our first segment, by the way, we got a few segments. We're going to do a starting line segment where we talk about a few different stories in the news. I'm going to have a guest. Today, my guest is Mark Miller of Response Auto Center, an import car specialty shop in Edmonton here. And then I've got a gadget of the week. Every week I'm going to try to get something in here that I think is cool, is interesting, something you guys and girls are probably be interested in too. We'll see how that goes. And upcoming car shows. I'll get more into that later. This is going to be fun. Now remember, there is a chat area that if you want to jump into the chat, talk amongst each other or ask questions to me or to the guest or whatever, just scroll down a little bit farther down the screen, take a look there, load up your favorite nickname.
Username.
Your username, that's the word. Thank you, Evan. Evan's my safety net.
I'm also the guy who says, get in the chat room.
That's right. So join in, please. We welcome everybody. All right, so let's get this kicked off. Let's get this started off. First section is the starting line. Now, the starting line on this first story is, may I see your data? Now, what's coming down the pipe is some legislation down the road for event data recorders and airbags. Like, okay, maybe that's not exciting or whatever, but it is going to be something that's going to be things people are going to have to pay attention to. Right now, there's no standardization on how the data, what the data is recorded, like what parameters are required, and how that stuff's accessed. It's all very open. There was supposed to be a standardized, by legislation, a standardization that happened, supposed to be in by September 1st, 2010. Well, that got bumped to September 1st, 2012. I'm not sure what the delay is. It seems fairly straightforward, but the civil libertarians are really up in arms about this because they're worried about who owns that information, who owns that data. In an accident, the event data recorder will record ideally throttle position, ground speed, where the brakes applied, all these sorts of things, plus a bunch of other things. And getting that information out has been really difficult for some manufacturers.
I have a question, Dave.
Yes.
Do these people get up in arms over the black boxes in airplanes as well?
No, I think it's just when it comes down to somebody thinking they should reach out and touch that individual person. Is it your car with your data, or is it?
So the car's more personal than like an airplane is.
I think that's probably the issue. Do we have the right to refuse to not incriminate ourselves, or is the data that's on there something that is should become instantly or maybe automatically transferred over to the police? That's that kind of thing. I mean, it's all about what happened in the accident. I mean, I know up here there was an incident in Quebec where a guy had run a red light and hit a car. The guy in the other car died, but through the court proceedings, they got the information off the black box, off the event data recorder, and were able to additionally charge him with speeding because they knew exactly what happened. The event data recorder records all the information, for a period of time back before the impact. So they knew. I mean, it definitely spoke to the cause of the crash. So as it sits right now, there's only a few manufacturers that have the ability to get that information out easily. All of the other ones, it has to go back to a head office or a plant somewhere else to get the event data out. Right now, Chrysler, GM, Ford, and Daimler vehicles have that stuff available. Everybody else, it's still, and to that end, I actually think had Toyota had easy access to crash data, they may not have had as big a PR problem with their unintended acceleration. Because if that data could have got out sooner, all of the parameters would be there. Was the throttle down? Were the brakes applied? I think that could have been nipped in the bud. But because of the slowdown, it just made everything tougher. So in future, I'm hoping to get maybe a lawyer in here to talk to us about that. Maybe he can make it more confusing for us. So the next item up, the starting line is, dude, where's my Honda? Hackers have hacked into Honda Canada's database and gotten customer information. Luckily, there was no connection to their financial stuff, which is probably where they were going. But they did get all of the information for where the people live, what car they have, all of that, and their VINs. So although they may not have gotten the financial information they were maybe after, I'm still thinking the thefts for export of Hondas could jump substantially.
Well, I think that makes it really easy to social engineer your way to getting other information too.
Well, I suppose that's true, and that's true too, But with the VIN, they can go in if they either have the equipment or maybe someone unscrupulous that works at a dealer somewhere, they could remake a brand new key, have the smart technology that's in the key already installed, walk up, put it in, and your car disappears. So that's going to be a story we're going to be following down the road too. So the next item is the starting line is Saab lives, or maybe I should say, change the punctuation and say Saab lives. Well, we'll see what happens. They have had their production ground to a halt because suppliers were worried about getting paid. They had money owed to them. Now in jumps Pangda, a distributor in China, with $91 million in cash. It sounds good because it's going to get them, get the factories going again. The downside is they owe a little more than that already to suppliers inside Sweden and outside. So how far that's going to go, I don't know. As part of the deal, they also get a 50-50 distributorship, a 50-50 partnership for distributorship for selling cars into China, Saab cars into China. And Pangda has that same, a similar arrangement with a whole bunch of other companies, Audi, VW, Honda, Mazda. So that is their aim, but I don't think that's the big issue or the big thing for Saab. Saab doesn't need more market access. They need cash. They need cash flow. So for selling, getting $91 million and over 20% of the company gets turned over to Pangda, that's a pretty steep price, but I guess they got to do what they got to do. I hope Saab holds together. There's a lot of Saab people out there that, they've had them a long time. They're big fans of them. Hopefully that stays together. Go Saab. Go Saab. And our final story in the starting line is, am I having a deja vu moment, or is this just bad Wiener Schnitzel? Let's run the first video.
I got a question for you. What does this city know about luxury? Huh? What does a town that's been to hell and back know about the finer things in life? Well, I'll tell you. More than most. You see, it's the hottest fires that make the hardest steel. Add hard work and conviction, and the know-how that runs generations deep in every last one of us. That's who we are. That's our story. Now, it's probably not the one you've been reading in papers. The one being written by folks who've never even been here and don't know what we're capable of. Because when it comes to luxury, it's as much about where it's from as who it's for. Now, we're from America, but this isn't New York City, or the Windy City, or Sin City, and we're certainly no one's Emerald City.
This is the Motor City. And this is what we do.
Okay, so I think most of you have probably seen that ad. It was quite an iconic ad. Does this seem just a little bit familiar to you? Let's go to the next one.
Wait a minute.
Does that somehow just seem a little bit familiar? Did we just watch the same ad twice?
It actually looks like a cheap version of the Chrysler ad.
I don't know what's going on over at Audi. That one made me laugh. You know, Lord love them, they're great folks. I'm positive of that. But that one baffled me. I mean, they're actually in hot water over this too. Beyond the kind of direct copy, a lot of the look. I mean, the shot going by the front of that theater, the wet road, the cars moving around or whatever. I mean, the 200 wasn't getting driven as hard as that Audi, that A6 Avant, but yeah, there's some strong similarities. The part that's kind of funny on top of that is M&M's licensing people are apparently one of the most strict and militant about usage and rights. You have to buy the right to use the song. And I don't know how they thought that changing pretty much one note in the entire melody and leaving all of the rest of the chord stuff the same would get by. I don't know. Maybe it kind of made me scratch my head. To tell you the truth, toward the end, I actually thought maybe it was all sort of just a gag bit, and they were going to end it off with not imported from Detroit, but imported from where they actually produce the A6. So I Googled it. I don't know, does imported from Neckelsalm sound good? I may be saying that wrong. I'm sure there's a German person that's throwing daggers at their computer right now, but even if they went by an easier name to pronounce, even if they went by Audi headquarters, imported from Ingolstadt, I think that one's closer. I don't know. It made me laugh. It made me laugh. They would have been better, frankly, going for that and making it sort of a parody, but to do it just straight, ooh.
Yeah, it needs like a gotcha at the end.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe with all the intelligence and brain power there, they just couldn't master Google search technology. I'm not positive. So At any rate, that wraps up the starting line segment of the show. Again, my name is Dave Foley. This is AutoMojo on Fuse Logic TV. Up after the break, we're going to have Mark Miller from Response Auto in here. And we're going to be talking about finding a repair shop you can trust. All right. With me here is Mark Miller, owner and operator of Response Auto Center in Edmonton, Alberta. Thanks, Mark. Thanks for coming by. I appreciate that. I appreciate this. So what we're going to be talking about is getting your car serviced. How do you find a shop that is one you can trust? Like, well, let's back up a sec. Is it important to get your repairs done at one shop, or is it just as well to bounce around to wherever you go, whatever's convenient?
I think for a couple of reasons it's important. One is, like, we can get the most wear and tear out of your parts on your car because we're always looking and monitoring at your car on regular visits. For instance, on brakes, somebody comes in 3 or 4 times a year and we can see that their brakes are getting low, but possibly that customer only puts on 5,000 kilometers a year. So we can say, well, maybe you won't need brakes for a couple years, but we'll just keep looking at them.
Keep it monitored.
We have other customers that probably put on 60,000 a year, and we'll say, you need brakes today. So, that's kind of important to be watching. Mm-hmm. And the other thing is records. Like, we keep service records, so if you have a warranty problem with anything, you know where you bought that part. Mm-hmm. If you came to us, we can go back on our records right till the day we started and tell you where we bought it, if it's under warranty or not, and make some advice on it.
That's pretty good. So this also helps a person decide whether it's worth keeping the car in the first place.
Yeah.
Like, you guys would get a database of, cost per mile on the different cars that you guys work on.
Yeah, exactly. So we can tell you if this car is kind of a lemon and it keeps breaking down on a regular basis over and over again, maybe it's time to get rid of it. Time to retire it.
Yeah, or if they're looking to a different brand, the background that you guys would have, you could steer people whichever way is going to be the most successful for them, get them the most satisfaction.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty good. Oh, we have a question from the chat room.
Yeah, Mac is asking, this is a good question. I'm sure a lot of people like to know this. How do you know if a shop is, taking you for a ride on repairs, so to speak, trying to overcharge or overwork, so to speak? What are some of the common indicators, if there are any?
If they take you for a ride?
Yeah, like, how do you know if a shop is giving you fair value? How do you know how can you tell if they're ripping you off?
That's a very tough question because there's different prices for different shops, and you can have the same job and have it priced out at 5 different shops for 5 different prices. And you're going, well, why is it different price? So I have customers that phone on a regular basis, and they're always looking for an estimate on a particular job. Mm-hmm. And I have to make some decisions on what parts I'm going to put into the car to start with. Mm-hmm. And I brought some examples here today. I brought some oil filters along. And each of these oil filters that I can show you are for exactly the same application, the same car. So if I was going to do an estimate, I have to make a decision on which filter I'm going to be purchasing. So, like, if I buy, this one's particularly for a Volvo, and it's a Volvo original filter. And if you look inside of it, I've cut them all open. This one happens to have 90 folds of paper around the filter itself. Mm-hmm. It's got steel construction top and bottom, so it's a very good quality filter. If you bought this filter from Volvo, it cost you $19.93. So I could make a decision on that filter, or here's one made by MAN. This one here has exactly the same amount of folds. It has 90 folds. It has metal construction, and it actually is made by the same manufacturer as Volvo uses. It's made by MAN, which
they're the OE supplier.
It's an identical filter as what you would buy on a Volvo, except for it doesn't say Volvo on the can. Mm-hmm. So this one costs $11.24
instead of almost 20.
Instead of almost 20. So now I can make a decision and say, well, I'm going to buy the identical filter, mm-hmm. and it's going to be like $8 less. Well, might as well be going that way.
That's good value for the customer.
Yeah. Then I could also choose this one. It's a little bit less quality. This one I've counted at 62.5 bolts that go around it. Still has steel construction, still pretty good quality, mm-hmm. and the price is $10. So it's a little bit less quality, but it's a little bit less mm-hmm. price also. Mm-hmm. I could also choose one, this company here. I've counted the folds at 36 folds, and it's made out of paper construction.
Cardboard on the top and the bottom.
Yeah. So
unbelievable.
I'm going, well, I mean, the other thing is, in their defense, they're only charging $7 for this filter. So if I do an estimate, I have to make a decision, or possibly ask the customer what kind of quality do you want, or what are you expecting? Mm-hmm. Because if I have a work order and it has, or doing an estimate up and it has 20 different parts on it, and I can make the same decision on every part, it's going to make a huge difference in the total outcome of the bill.
I mean, you're looking at almost just under triple the price for the same part.
Exactly.
For the exact same car. You know, that's a pretty big range.
So you got to decide what you're going to do. So a person phoning around for pricing has no idea what they're getting under the hood when it actually gets installed. So, you've got to find a shop that has a reputation and that they care about what they're putting in and what kind of service and a good reputation.
Yeah, yeah. So do you think a connection from the counter person to the people back into the shop would make a difference? Like if the person taking your order, writing down your symptoms, the symptoms of the car, not your symptoms, them being part of the actual shop, that's probably a better way to go than just a service writer who only fills in, would you think?
Yeah.
Or at least the connection to the person doing the estimates anyway.
Yeah. I think that's a very good point, because in our shop, I'm the one who does the estimates. I order the parts. I have control over that. And then I also have control over the back shop. I personally look at every single car.
Yeah.
I'm watching the techs as they're working on them. I'm making sure the job's getting done. Yeah. And so we have good control over that.
Good control. We've got another question from the chat room.
Yeah, Keith asks, I've heard that a good mechanic will save the parts they take out for replacement or repair to show you the wear and damage. Is that true, or is that just really what some people do and some people don't?
We always save the parts, and I always like doing show and tell, because if you can show the customer why this part failed, you can physically see that it's badly worn or it's broken or leaking or whatever it is. I mean, obviously, gaskets and seals, you can't bring something dripping up to the front counter and say, well, yeah, it was leaking. But, I think it's a good thing to show customers, and I think they appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah. And then it also, for people that may be skeptical, it also is one where they can actually see, yes, the brake pad was worn down to the rivets, and this is the rotor that got cratered in the process or whatever.
Exactly.
It sort of closes the loop.
And some parts you can look at, such as brake rotors, and you can't even tell by looking at it that it's bad, but it's because it has worn down to a certain thickness, and just by law, it's below the spec.
Right.
You have to discard it, but it looks fine, but it still needs to be discarded because it's out of spec.
Okay. So what's the best way for somebody to choose a shop?
Well, I think probably by reference, like finding people you know that already go to a shop and they find it trustworthy. And, you know, it's kind of like dating. Like you've got to actually go on a date and find out who these people are. Like go and introduce yourself. And then, you know, sometimes the first date's a little clumsy and hopefully things work out as it goes on. And, you know, if you're satisfied and you're both enjoying it, then keep going
from there. So what about finding somebody else that has the same brand of vehicles? Like, where do you get your Honda fixed type of thing? Find somebody and go from there, that type of reference.
So it's all about reference and referral. And we actually reward our customers for referring others. So if they're happy, we'll send them a gift if they refer somebody else.
Yeah, yeah. That's cool. That's cool. So, all right. I just had a sign said to me, and I don't remember what it was. 1 minute. There. Anyway, let's wrap this up. I really want to thank you for coming in today, Mark. I was going to say tonight. This was good. This was good.
Thanks.
If people want to get a hold of you, where do they find you guys on the internet?
ResponseAuto.ca.
And if they want to give you a phone call and talk to you in person, your shop number is
474-6116.
That's area code 780-474-6116. Excellent. All right. Thank you very much, Mark.
All right. Welcome.
Up after the break, we're going to do Dave's Gadget of the Week and GPS Road Trip Roundup. Plan your weekend. We're going to have some fun. Oh, welcome back, everybody. This is AutoMojo with Dave Foley on Fuse Logic TV. Okay, this is my Gadget of the Week section. I'm going to find something, tell you guys about it and why I think you guys should look at it. Okay, cool looking piece here, right? Yes, okay, and wonderful. Dave has discovered flashlight technology. Great. No, this is cooler. Other than the fact that it's aluminum and it looks neat, it also has an array of LEDs on the side. So let's say you're going to work under your dash. You're maybe installing stuff under the dash. You've got a trouble light you can keep beside you, and it's not going to burn your cheek off. This is kind of cool. My favorite part of this thing, though, is this. If you keep this thing in your car, now the camera doesn't really show how bright this is, but these, pointed at this one, these are, no, it's just flaring out. It's coming around. Anyway. The little LEDs on this thing are really bright. The flashlight has a magnetic base. If you're ever stuck on the side of the road and you don't want to leave your four-ways on because, you know what, it's going to drain your battery, these things will run for something like, it's like 16 hours or something like that. The magnetic base will stay there. The wind isn't going to blow it away. It's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool piece. I think everybody should have one of these or something like it in their car.
That's my question. That I'd say $25 to $30 for that. What was it?
No. Well, this one happened to be in a kind of a surplus place. For those in Canada, it was Winners, as a matter of fact. $9. That's a pretty good deal. And if it's something that keeps you a little bit safer when you're on the road, I think this is a cool way to go. There's another version that Canadian Tire is selling, and it's very, very similar. LED flashlight, everything's good. It also has the ability to blink with the wand and its magnetic base. There's more noise there. Again, you can mark your car if you're stuck on the side of the road or down in the ditch after like our terrible winter we just had. I think we all had a terrible winter. If you're off the road, off the beaten path, this is something that could light for a good long time, let people know you're down there. I think it's a great idea. I think you should have either one of these or maybe both in your car all the time. It's a great idea. And the LED lets the batteries last a long, long time. So that's my gadget of the week. Thank you. Our final segment is car shows. I'm a big believer in getting car guys to go to vintage car shows. We can all talk about the style of the new this or the new that, but it's better to I think it's way better to have an idea how cars were designed before. What did they used to be like? Because you know what? Not everything that a PR guy says is new is actually new. There's not a lot new under the sun. There might be new technology, but as far as style, successful style is good sculpture. So go check out an old car show. These are just a couple I'm going to highlight on this week's show. If you're in the Ferndale, Washington area, go to the 12th annual Ferndale Hagen Show and Shine. If you're in Ferndale or around that area, you're interested in that, give a phone call to 306-380-9000, and they'll be able to set you up. If you're in Revelstoke, BC, on June 3rd or 4th, they've got a 2-day show there, the second annual Mountain Paradise Show. If you want more information on that, go to revelstokecarshow.ca. And if you're going to be around Blackfalds, Alberta this weekend, that is on the 4th, I'm going to be at the Blackfald Days Oldies Show and Shine. I'm going to go down there and check that out. If you're interested in going down there, give Denise a call at area code 403-304-0949. If you see me, I'll be in a red shirt and I'll be the guy wearing this face. Come over and say hi. Next show we'll give you a shout out. We'll have some fun. I'm a big supporter of old car shows. Oh, and if they've got 50-50 draw, you know what? Help the charity out. Buy 50-50 tickets. Help them support something big. So, well, that wraps up our first show ever of gee, I even got to get the name right. AutoMojo with Dave Foley on Fuse Logic TV. If you've got any questions, jump into the chat room there. We're hoping to do more of these. If you've got story items, products that you think should be featured, could be shown in the show. If you want, guys, you know somebody that thinks they want to sponsor a segment, get a hold of us here at Fuse Logic TV, and we will surely do our best to set you up. So there we go. That wraps up the first show. AutoMojo with Dave Foley on Fuse Logic TV. Thanks for checking us out.